name's Jon Solo, and I play keyboards, piano mainly, with singer-songwriters and artists, bands around the world.
How did all this start? Where was their beginnings?
Well, I started playing really young when I was 3.5, 4 years old. 4 years old was I had my first piano lesson. My older brother was playing piano, so I just sat down and started playing one of his songs, and my parents were like, oh, that's kind of weird. How did he figure that out? I just took to it really quickly, and then when I had my first lesson, my piano teacher was like, all right, let's see what you got. And I started on this method called Suzuki Method, where
exactly what that is. You need to break us down.
Suzuki is like a specific style of learning classical piano. And every week I did a song, I learned it, and I came back the next week and I learned that one. She's like, oh, we'll go to the next song. And I just kept doing it, and they were like, oh, that's really fast development for a kid. And by the time I was, I think, 5, I did my first piano competition, like talent contest, and
wow.
Things were happening really quickly. I was on a TV show when I was 10 years old.
Wow.
And,
what was the name of the show?
The show was called Music Magic, and I did an interview with Bill Nye the Science Guy. Philip Glass. I met him when I was a kid. Yeah, so things kind of developed quickly for me, and then by the time I got to high school, I was like, oh, I think I should probably do this. I went to Cornish College of the Arts in Seattle, and I met great musicians there, and I was challenged right away. I was like, okay, I'm from a small town. I was like, I'm no longer the big fish in a little pond, you know? And it challenged me, and it was good.
Who's your influences?
Oh, I love a lot of them. I mean, Bill Evans is my favorite. Herbie Hancock, Keith Jarrett, McCoy Tyner, Chick Corea. I don't really just have one favorite, but I guess most people, if they were to hear my playing and they know a lot about it, they'd say I'm most influenced by Bill Evans. And that's just because I really like the way he took classical sounding music and kind of mixed it with jazz. And I was coming from a classical background, that made more sense to me.
Let's move on to what you're doing now with your new album.
I wanted to do something different because I've been working with singers for so long now.
Right.
And I was starting to yearn for a different style of music, and I wanted to make a new record because I've made my own singer-songwriter records as well. But I didn't want to make another one of those. But then I heard Nils Fromm, and I was like, oh, this is cool music. It's not jazz, it's not classical, it's in between everything that I already kind of like and do anyway. So I started recording music on the piano, just writing, and that's how Home for Hemingway came out, the album, and I changed the moniker, the name, to Naneum. That led to a record deal that I got from this label called Electrophone Music out of LA. And he was like, I want to distribute your next record. So then I made another one. In 1 year, I put out 2 records, 2 piano records. Out of all the stuff I've done, it's the most feedback I've gotten, my own personal music. A lot of people have hit me up and said they really like it, from all over the world, and I've gotten spins on radio stations and stuff, and it's been really cool. It's like it made me realize that people do listen just to instrumental music. A lot of people do. And the piano is a timeless instrument, and it made me realize oh, I don't have to try to be something I'm not. You know, the piano is me, deep inside me, that's what I do. So I don't have to try to be somebody else. And I think that's why the music came out so quickly for me.
So the name, the moniker, Naneum, what is that about? Where did that come from? Why did you go with Jon?
Well, I was going to, but then so he sent me the titling and it said Home for Hemingway by Jon Solo, and I don't know, I just thought the name didn't seem to fit with the music, because the music is open, spacey. I wanted it to be more mysterious than by somebody. And I'd been toying with that name for years because that's actually a canyon from where I grew up in Ellensburg in Washington State, where I grew up. It's just north of the town, I should say, the village. It's called the Naneum Canyon, and there's a Naneum Creek, and my father used to take me fly fishing there when I was a kid, and I kind of grew up in that. And I always in my head was like, I want to name something the Naneum someday. My friend was like, no, just go with Naneum, drop the. And I was like, okay, and then that was it.
Gave you that advice Mark Zuckerberg got.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, as I was saying that, it reminded me of that moment, but I didn't want to like even remotely try to compare it to that. But it was that, because there's a band called The National, and a lot of bands do the something. He's like, oh no, just do Naneum. I was like, yeah, that's way better. I got another record done that I'm gonna put out later this year.
So besides Home from Hemingway and Open Sea, you have a third album?
I have a third one coming out. It's gonna be called Life Cycle.
Oh wow. When that's gonna be dropping? I
was gonna try to drop it by August, but I don't think that's gonna happen because it's already like mid-June or something like that. So, I mean, it's done. I just need to get it mastered. And I'm tweaking kind of the mix right now. But I'd say by the fall.